Welcome to the Master Cars Pro channel. Today we will talk about the problems and weaknesses of this wonderful car. We are starting with the power units as usual. The Mazda 3 BM powertrain line consists of naturally aspired gasoline engines, 1.5 PY-VPS, 1.6 ZX, 2.0 PE-VPS, 2.5 PY-VPS, and diesels 1.5 SH-VPTS and 2.2 SH-VPTS liters. All engines except the petrol 1.6 are representatives of the new technological series of Skyactiv engines, which are very sensitive to the quality of fuel and lubricants. The manufacturer welcomes the use of the 98th and even the 100th brand of gasoline, since it has less detonation, which adversely affects the piston. Cheap gasoline reduces the service line of spark plugs, ignition coils, fuel injection pumps, and fuel injection. These engines are adversely affected by the savings on oil and long intervals between replacements, as a high compression ratio increases the operation temperature, pressure, and loading on the engine block. Otherwise, these are reliable and economical motors with a timing chain drive, which serves approximately 150,000 to 200,000 kilometers. They can do without expensive repairs 304,000 kilometers, however, without minor flaws still not done. So, for example, in many instances, the valve cover gasket gave out early enough and began to pass groove in the area of the solenoid valve for controlling the oil supply. The valve itself also prone to grease leaks. The tension in Laurel of the Brook belt also had a meteor resource. There were also cases of camouflage cam development on the intake row valves, which led to the appearance of a cap with subsequent replacement of the part and adjustment of the valves. The 1.6 engine is also well known to fans of the Mazda 3 BL and BK. This engine is simple and reliable. Besides decades of presence of the carburetor managed to get rid of almost all the sources, from small restores of engine supports and intake manifold gaskets. You can also note a short lead lane of the crankcase and cylinder head unit. Often, owners complain about such troubles and expensive noise work. The resource of the internal combustion engine with proper maintenance will be about 400,000 kilometers. Diesel cars are more problematic. Among the main disadvantages, it is worth highlighting the typical problems with fuel equipment for diesel engines: rapid wear of injectors, fuel pump, EGR valve, and particulate filter. Also, when burning the diesel particulate filter, diesel fuel can get into the oil, which resists its lever. Another problem area is the attachment of the injectors, which over time is loosened. As a result, the oil channels are quickly cooled. The disease is fraught with oil starvation and intensive wear of the engine. The vacuum pump is also extremely unsuccessful here, the failure of which leads to critical breakdowns of the unit. On the first cars with 2.2 engine, unsuccessful camouflages were used, on which already by 100,000 kilometers of mileage there was a production and the engine begins to make noise. Customers can choose from two types of gearboxes: 6-speed manual Skyactiv and automatic Skyactiv-Drive FW6A-EL. In conjunction with a 1.6 engine, a 5-speed manual transmission, and a 4-speed automatic transmission FN4ALE were installed until 2016. There is nothing special to tell about the shortcomings of the transmission, since the boxes are very reliable and when changing the oil every 60,000 kilometers will not cause problems 200,000–300,000 kilometers. Of the shortcomings of the Skyactiv manual transmissions, you can not only note that the clutch kit, which with an active driving style will require replacement closer to 120,000 kilometers. The 5-step sports driving style leads to repeat wear of the synchronizers, 3 and 4 gears, and the clutch drive cylinder. The main disadvantage of the Skyactiv-Drive machine is the presence of shocks when switching the first gears and an unheated engine. If this problem occurs after warming up, you will need to reset the adaptations and update the firmware. On a car with a mileage over 100,000 kilometers, there might be a hole of the central bearing of a housing. But the reliability of the suspension was a little disappointing. In addition to the stabilizer consumables, shock-absorbing struts often require attention, which can begin to flow after 20,000 kilometers. Do not have an impressive margin of safety and silent blocks of the front levers. Depending on the operating conditions, they serve 80–120,000 kilometers. Another vulnerable point is the springs of the rear axle, in which the coils break at regular loads by 100,000 kilometers. Ball bearings, hub, and support bearing can withstand 120–150,000 kilometers, multi-link parts up to 200,000 kilometers. Among the disadvantages of the rear axle, it is necessary to highlight the tendency to soar the cable bolts in the bushing of silent blocks, and if they are not periodically lubricated, expensive repairs are inevitable. The steering system is involved with a rank and pinion mechanism with an ampuller, which reminds itself of knocks after 100–150,000 kilometers. Power steering is prone to overheating of the pump and all sorts of failures in the electronics, because of which the steering wheel becomes heavy. There are also complaints about the reliability of the brakes. In addition to the repeat wear of consumables, the owners of the Mazda 3BM note the unreliability of the brakes with the inscription "Made in China." The most common element is a tendency to soar the mechanism, which leads to uneven wear and overheating of the brake discs, especially in the rear. On older copies, guides, caliper pistons, and the parking brake mechanism can be jammed. Traditionally, for cars of the Japanese automobile industry, the body is covered with a thin and soft paint coating, which is why it is quickly covered with crimps and small scratches. Among the vulnerabilities are the hood, seals, arcs, and roof edge. The body iron here is of high quality and well resists the overflow of a red disease. In places of damage to the LCP over the years, a red plague may still appear, but this does not lead to fatal consequences. The interior pleases the eye not only with its designs, but also with the build quality, good quality and finishing materials, but only some elements of the interior are subject to repeat wear. So, for example, the braid of the steering wheel at the gearbox level can already have significant scuffs by 50,000 kilometers. Quickly, there are signs of wear and tear on the controls of talon equipment. There are complaints about the reliability of the upholstery and set support rollers of the front seat cushioners. They are whipped and sucked. The car also received a lot of criticism for its low level of noise insulation. After 100,000 kilometers, quick-tears begin to break out from under the plastic panels, which further reduces the acoustic comfort in the cabin. Well, if you are the owner of this car, then please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your feedback that will help viewers when choosing a car. I am done. Thank you all very much for your attention. I'm very grateful to you if you subscribe to this channel. See you soon!